Well, metalheads, welcome to this episode of Mental Mastication. I'm your host, Brett Hoag, and while my wife does refer to me as the machine in certain situations, I have never had a run-in with the Russian Mafia. Today, we are at the lovely home of our gracious host and guest, Shawn Duncan, and I also just got a text message by bass extraordinaire Billy Sheehan. He will be joining us towards the end of the show. Right now, let me introduce to you our gracious host and first guest, Mr. Shawn Duncan, the drummer of LA Guns, Social Disorder, DC4, Killer Bee, and I'm missing one. Odin. What are we making?
Well, I got some baby back ribs in here. They're barbecuing and in my big green egg.
Ooh.
I got started. And then over here, we have some chicken and some potatoes. And we're pretty close. All I got to do is I'm going to grill some asparagus in a bit and tie it all together, and we should be good.
Right on. So what got you into cooking? You're known as a drummer. You're not known as a cook or a barbecue master.
Well, when I had my son, I needed a job. And so I went into catering in the movies. I've always liked to cook. Ever since I was a little kid, I have two siblings that are like, we're literally 2 years apart. So my mother was obviously very busy. So if I wanted something, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make it. Later in life, I worked for this catering company, and we did movies and everything. And I started out doing tables and chairs. The next thing I knew, I was making all the salads. Then I was working in the big truck doing breakfast. And then I was the assistant chef, and then I was running the truck, and I was chefing for various shows. And when you're on I worked on Jag, the TV show Jag, for 2.5 years. And so you have to constantly be coming up with new stuff. So I saw a lot of food made a lot of different ways, a lot of different sauces and salsas and all that stuff. So that was basically where I learned. And then I took over. My uncle had a restaurant in Silver Lake called the Coffee Table. And they were having some trouble because the kitchen couldn't keep up. So I went in and streamlined the menu. Now I'm just playing music, and I'm really happy. You know, the record company made all the money. Publishing companies you didn't really make a lot of money unless you were huge, right?
Okay.
You make your money on your merch, and you make your money on meet and greets, and you make your money on shows and playing live. Come to the shows.
Come to the show. Live music. It's where it's at.
It is. It's a lot of fun. People, after COVID, people forgot how much fun it was, and now the whole live scene is picking way up.
Yeah. So when you're touring with LA Guns here on the East Coast, are you flying there? Are you taking a tour bus? How is that?
We usually fly to the first city that we're going to be playing in, and the bus meets us, and then from there we travel in bus. I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You're not tired?
No, man. Yeah, you're exhausted. It's tiring to do it. There's a lot of downtime, but it's fun. You're a gypsy, and it's like.
So what are you doing on the road then to pass your downtime?
Basically read a lot of books.
Who's your favorite author?
Oh, you know what? Right now it's Brendan Sanderson. Who I've just finished 4 of his 700, 1,100 page books, Stephen King, and I'm really indiscriminate about.
What's your favorite genre? Do you have one?
Yeah, if it has dragons and swords and wizards, I'm like all about
Hack and slay. Hack and slay. It is the best. It is the best. Oh yeah, LA Guns. So, yeah. I read online that you were brought in as the touring drummer, but now I think you're a permanent member, so you'll be recording with them?
I don't know what's going on with the next album yet, because nobody's even started working on it, because we're still touring on the Black Diamonds album.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to play on it. I'd like to.
How'd you get the touring gig?
Well, it goes back a ways. And when I was out on tour with Bullet Boys, we were sharing a bus with Tracy and Rudy Sarzo, and they had a band called Gunzo, and me and Tracy became good friends on that tour and remained in contact after. Matter of fact, the opening band on that was Killer Bee, which Anders Laramblom, I went and did a tour in the UK with Killer Bee after that tour, And then I recorded an album with them, and we went to Israel and did a bunch of other cool shit.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, it was neat. But that's kind of how the social disorder thing came in. But to get to Guns is I would text Tracy every once in a while. Hey, if you need a drummer, or hey, how you doing? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then one day out of the blue, I got a text from Tracy, and it said, "Hey, are you busy this summer?" That's all it said.
Are you busy this summer?
Are you busy this summer? And I'm like, well, what do you need? Let me know. And he goes, I'll get right back to you. And then like the next day, he said, yeah, so management's probably going to get a hold of you, but you're open. And I'm going, I need to know details. And so management calls me and they're talking to me and goes, it's this, it pays this much. We need you to be, it's 9 weeks. And I'm like, 9 weeks. It's a long freaking time.
It is a long time.
And it was all with Kiefer.
Yeah.
It was Tom Kiefer, LA Guns, and Faster Pussycat. It was a lot of fun, and all friends. Because when I was out with Bullet Boys, we played with Faster Pussycat on another tour. It was with Quiet Rat, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so we're all friends, and then I knew everybody in LA Guns except Phil. I knew Johnny from playing locally. Mm-hmm. He's an LA boy. Actually, he's OC, but he's from here. And Ace, I knew from touring with Faster Pussycat. So I knew everybody except Phil. I just didn't know Phil. And so they brought me in. I did. Here's their song list. Okay, we're gonna do rehearsals. We rehearsed for like 2 days, and then boom, we're gone, right? And so it was a learning curve while we were out there, but it was fun, And next thing I knew, it was another tour, and then we were on the Kiss cruise, and we were on the 80s cruise, and ever since then, it's just been nonstop. And again, like I said, we're going out again on March 6th, and then we're going out in the summer. I don't have details on that, and I've heard pretty strong rumors of heading over to Europe.
Oh, right on. What about South America?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about South America. Yeah, I haven't. I haven't played in South America personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my brother has several times, but I haven't.
And your brother is
Jeff Duncan from
Duncan from Armored Saint, another Metal Hall of Fame inductee.
That's right.
We got to get that in there.
Yeah, that's my younger brother, and we founded Odin.
Now, for those of you who remember, you might want to go back to the cult classic, The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years, directed by another Metal Hall of Famer, Penelope Spheeris. Now, I read on the internet, and we know that can be a bunch of bullshit, or it can be real, so please correct me or shed light. I heard a rumor that you may have been involved in prepping Chris Holmes for his infamous pool scene in that movie. Is there any truth to that rumor, sir?
Chris was like really instrumental in Odin's growth. He used to come to our rehearsals, and we did. We opened up for Wasp. He had us open up for Wasp on a Saturday night, prime, direct support for the blood drive at the Troubadour, and it was just crazy. And then that's really what launched us. Anyway, Chris was like always at all our shows. We even had our local shows when he was in town on our rider. We had a bottle of vodka and a bottle of grapefruit juice for him.
Right on.
So, long story short, when we were shooting the hot tub scene, we were obviously drinking, and Chris was there, who was off camera. He wasn't shooting yet. His scene wasn't till later. And he was just pounding away with us. And then that next thing you know, they were heading up to, when we were done,
right?
They went up and shot the scene with Chris.
The scene with Chris. Okay, yeah. So obviously you kind of prepped him for that scene, right? What do they call it? Pre-gaming? Is that what the kids call it these days?
Yeah, pre-game.
So he's pre-gaming, and then he was drinking in the pool too. Yeah, that's a great scene.
Yeah,
it's a great movie. If you haven't
classic.
seen it, you have to see this movie. It is amazing. So let's talk about band with your brother then. Other than Odin, what else have you done with Jeff?
DC4.
And DC stands for Duncan Clan.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. I figured that out all by myself.
Yeah, that's it. And a majority, the reason we did it, because we always had singer issues. So one time I've told Jeff, I said, you know what, you're just going to have to sing. And so we did DC4 with, it was me, Jeff, Rowan Robertson, who played with Dio, and my youngest brother, Matt.
Ah. And what does Matt play?
Bass.
Okay. So did Jeff had to learn how to sing and play at the same time?
No, because he already could do it, you know, and it was like just, he wrote everything anyway. And it just made our lives a lot easier so we could do stuff. So we ended up recording 5 albums.
Oh, right on.
And
I've only heard one. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. But well, actually, 1 EP and 4 albums.
Yeah, it was the EP I listened to. It's good music.
Yeah, it's fun. And that's basically DC4. And it's not, we're not active at the moment because, well, Rowan's doing the Rock Vault in Vegas. Jeff lives in Vegas, and he's out with Armored Saint. Matter of fact, he's in town right now. They're rehearsing, and they're going to go on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
You know, I want to get him on there. I want to do the Monsters of Rock cruise with Armored Saint is what I want to do. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I wish we were playing that
right.
But that's basically where you know, where it all came from and what it is.
And that led to, I'm assuming, Social Disorder.
Yeah, Social Disorder came around during COVID.
And when did you just dropped a new album? That was yesterday?
Yeah, it just came out yesterday on Pride and Joy Music, which is a label out of Germany.
Okay, and I did get a chance to listen to that. It is very good. It's very varied.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different styles on there, so it's not, you can't just say like it's, you know, heavy metal or hard rock. There's some good ballads. I'm not a ballad guy, but there are some good ballads in there. The drumming is superb.
Thank you.
I must say. So check out the new Social Disorder. It just dropped yesterday on all streaming platforms, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it's all out now.
So how did that come to, who wrote that stuff? Let's start there.
It's an interesting story. So around the time of COVID, just before COVID happened, Anders got a hold of me and had demos. And he goes, hey, can you put some drums on these demos? And I'm like, okay. So I just thought I was doing something for Anders. And so I went in and I recorded and I sent them back to him. And the next thing I noticed, he goes, hey, Tracy's going to play on this. And I go, on what? And he goes, the stuff you sent me. I go, really? And he goes, yeah. And the next thing I know, oh, Rudy's going to play on this. Sarzo.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, really? And then he had this singer that did these demos. And I'm like, who's the singer on these demos? Because that guy, you got to get that guy. His name's Thomas Norden. And he ended up doing the whole album. And he's a phenomenal singer. It just kind of like turned into a record. And I'm like, I kind of would like to do these tracks over again, you know? But,
yeah.
Because it was I was playing to, it was all done remote. So I was playing this stuff that wasn't on a click or wasn't, you know, it's like, it was difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it was fun, you know, it was a great experiment. And Anders just lets us each individually do what we want to do, what we feel, right? So that was the first record. And then we did the same thing with the second record that happened during COVID. And fortunately, we all had some time.
Right, yeah.
And
that brought in Bjorn Englund into the fold.
Yeah, Bjorn
right?
came in to do, he played on one song on it. There was a guest artist on the last one. Oh, Jeff. My brother Jeff played on the first one.
Okay.
And then this one, the guest is Bjorn. And the keyboard player is Dave Stone. Dave Stone, who played on Long Live Rock and Roll.
Oh.
And for me, that was like, that was a full circle moment. I've had a few full circle moments in music. That was one. Because when I was starting out playing, I was practicing in my room one day. And I was really into like Journey and Steve Smith and that kind of music, right? And my brother came in and he had Long Live Rock and Roll. I could still see his face. He had Long Live Rock and Roll in his hand like this. And he goes, you have to listen to this record. And I'm like, okay. So I put it down and first song we heard was Kill the King. And, you know, here's Dio. And he says, listen to that singer. I'm like, listen to that fucking drummer.
Yeah.
Right? It's Cozy Powell. And that was my first exposure to him. And that changed like my complete trajectory as to what kind of a drummer. I ended up being more of a power drummer, a la, Bonzo, Powell, that kind.
Yeah.
And it was because of that record.
So what was the first record you bought?
Oh, it was Song Remains the Same.
Song Remains the Same. I had that one. I still have that one.
And the second one was Aerosmith Live Bootleg.
Both,
my first
God,
two
those are
both
great
live
albums. Yeah. Yeah, those are both great live albums too.
Yeah.
So what was the first concert you saw?
Oh, I saw Queen at the Forum with Freddie Mercury.
What year was this?
Oh, it was on the, I guess it would be 70. No, that was my second concert. The first concert I went to was in 1976 at the Coliseum. And it was Van Halen. It was 2 days. It was Van Halen, UFO, Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, Cheap Trick, Toto, played both days, and then a bunch of Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush, all these bands. It was my first concert experience. This is massive festival.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
That's amazing. It had to be life changing.
Yeah, it was. It was. I was like, I want to do that.
Right? Yeah.
I got to check the.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's check some food here. Looks like we're going for the chicken. But where'd that joy of cooking come from? How'd you find that? Who gave that to you?
Well, it probably came from Mom, but it's just something I've always done, and it's creative, right?
Right.
So,
right.
And I have a busy mind, so it's good to have something to do to keep the busy mind busy. And it's like music. It's a never-ending journey of learning. You're constantly learning something.
Right,
I just learned something today. Somebody sent me this thing about tenderizing meat using kiwi.
Oh.
And I was like, really? So I read the article on it, and I'm like, see.
Now I learned something.
Yeah, and to me it's fascinating. I'm like, that works because apparently there's one enzyme.
Yeah,
in
it has
kiwi
to be chemical. Yeah,
that's just like it's only in kiwis, but it breaks down protein.
Wow.
It's supposed to be a phenomenal meat tenderizer. I'm like, well, I'm going to try it.
I'm going to try it now, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go look that up. That sounds great.
Yeah. So basically, I'm going to grill some asparagus, and then that'll be it, because everything's pretty much done. I learned, like I said, on the fly on trucks, and there was a massive amount of freedom in what you were going to be doing, and so you just learned by. I worked with some really incredibly talented chefs. Paul Rathburn was one who is now, he works with, why can't I remember his name? Anyway, like he's a personal chef for like some really big stars. And then there was a French chef named Gerard that I worked on X-Men with. And he taught me a lot, but it was a lot of it. It was trust yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's kind of the same with music. Like you said earlier, where you said if you like it, then it's good.
Right. Yeah.
Right, because it's really ultimately it's about making yourself happy. Because if you make yourself happy, and hopefully everybody else will find that. Literally,
yeah, you guys, if you're not following Shawn on social media, man, he does tons of food porn.
I know.
And he's making it all, and he tells you what it is, and it's just unreal stuff that you're making.
It's fun. It keeps me, like I said, it keeps me sane when
that's what I wanted
slow.
to get back to, your busy mind. So your busy mind, you're playing the Sunset Strip in the 80s.
Yeah.
How was that busy mind occupied, sir?
Well, we had girls, were one, and it was such a vibrant scene. There was always something to do. Hi, Molly. There was always something to do.
So how'd you come out of there without being a cocaine addict?
Drugs really weren't. I mean, we partied a lot. Odin was definitely a party band, and we definitely pushed it. But at the same time, I had a girlfriend at the time, and I cared more about, going out and, hanging out with her and running around and then getting high.
Yeah,
So,
right on.
and then after, when I started doing this, in the movies, I didn't have time for it. So really, it was more about me just not being around it. And now that I'm older, it's not really there. It's like, it's not in the LA Guns camp at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And we can be pretty boring behind the scene.
I don't know, man. I've heard that Tracy has a great sense of humor.
Oh, phenomenal!
Is that yeah?
Oh,
that's true?
we have
Yeah?
a ton of fun. We
Like
have
how?
a ton of fun.
Like doing what?
Well, just in general, just hanging out and talking is fun. And our group texts are they should make a book out of just our group texts alone, because it's.
Anyone doing any practical jokes on the road or anything like that? You hear a lot of bands doing those kinds of things.
We don't, not to each other. There's a respect level, I guess, right?
Yeah,
We just don't do that to each other. But there's definitely a lot of fun and a lot of laughing and a lot of just it's a pretty happy family.
Right on. That's
know?
good. Yeah. Good. Hopefully it'll last. You guys are really tight. Like I said before, I've seen you a couple times live now. Before we set this up, so it's not
Yeah.
Taz Taylor is a good friend of mine. The Taz Taylor band got me in to see LA Guns a couple times live New Year's Eve, and they're tight as hell. So if you get a chance to see them on this tour, you have to do that. They're not glam. Let's get that out of the way.
It's not a glam
right
band.
now. They're not. They
hard
kind of
rock
got
band.
lumped into that genre in the '80s there with the other Sunset Strip bands. They are straight up hard rock. And Tracy is one of the most underrated guitar players I think out there.
Yeah, people who know who he is know who he is.
Yeah, because he shreds.
Yeah, he does. He's a great.
He
he's
is
phenomenal.
unreal. Let's change gears a little bit here. What's your favorite movie?
I like all the Lord of the Ring movies, and I like Dune. Dune was probably the most recent one I enjoyed. Was Dune.
I saw that twice, and I saw it again the other night, and then I went back and watched the one that came out in '84.
Yeah.
There when I was in high school.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
I thought it was bad back then.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's really bad.
It is. It's really bad.
The new Dune movie's really good. The old one, no.
No, the old one not so much.
Yeah, no, not so much.
But they didn't have CGI back then, and I mean, you couldn't have made Lord of the Rings back then to look anything but goofy.
No.
All those movies.
Look at the Conan movies.
Yeah, exactly. And what was the there was so many of them.
The one with Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans. It was all
stop motion
and stuff.
Yeah.
And
that was horrible.
It was, but I couldn't stop watching.
Right?
It for some reason.
It's definitely a classic. Definitely a cult classic.
Yeah, but I like those kind of movies, and that keeps. And like I said, Vikings and slashing and swords sometimes. Just
so, who's the best Bond?
Oh. Well, they all.
You're
have
taking way too long to answer that question.
Yeah,
so.
they all have their thing. I don't know. I can't pick one.
You can't pick one?
I'm going to pick Sean Connery.
There you go. You got to pick Sean Connery. It's the only answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a couple questions here we want to wrap up with.
Yeah.
Number one is my go-to drummer question, sir.
Okay.
And there is a correct answer.
All right.
Krupa.
So it's a test.
It is a test. Krupa or Rich?
Well, I mean, Buddy Rich is Buddy Rich.
That is the correct answer.
But but Gene Krupa kind of had that show aspect that that took it to another level. Right?
Yeah, you did.
So you had both of them were.
Yeah, there really is no right answer because they're both.
They're both just
they're both
monsters,
right?
And in their own way.
Yeah.
Legends.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
So who's your favorite modern drummer that's not named Shawn Duncan?
Today?
Yeah.
I like Danny Carey.
Yeah?
A lot. I like what he does. I mean, there's so many, Ray Luzier is phenomenal. To just watch and learn from is those two in particular. You just watch them for 10 minutes and learn something,
Right on.
And then right now, I'd say those two are pretty high. you know, but there's so many, it
Right.
just doesn't stop.
Have you ever played any Motown?
Yeah, there was a band that me and Jeff and John Bush and Joey Vera had called Hoag. And we played nothing but
That's a super group.
Yeah, we played nothing but Motown stuff.
Oh,
For,
God,
we
that
did
had to
like
be
2 or
fun.
3 gigs. And it was when John was in Anthrax.
Yeah, where did you do them here? At
Yeah,
East
we did
Coast
them in
here?
LA. It was years ago. And every once in a while I'm like, oh, we should do that again just to do it, you know?
Yeah,
I'd love
you
to do it
should.
again.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I want it.
All right, so everyone, you guys heard that? LA Guns is touring. When's the tour kick off here?
March 6th.
March 6th?
March 7th, actually.
March
in Fort
7th?
Lauderdale.
Through summer.
Yeah.
So if they're anywhere near you, go see them. Trust me, they're a great band to see live. They are so fun, and they're all such excellent musicians, and you guys are so tight.
Thanks.
No one would guess that you went on tour after 2 days of practice with them. It sounds like you've been playing with them for years.
Well, I have now.
Well, yeah. Well, how long has it been?
This I think it's 3 years.
3 years? Okay, yeah. So, yeah, obviously you're rehearsing when you're not on the road with the guys.
Oh, we don't rehearse.
No, you don't.
No, we just
Another one of those guys. Oh, we don't rehearse, man. We just show up and
we
play.
just show up and play. That's exactly
Yeah.
what we do. We just don't rehearse. It's like what songs are we gonna? Matter of fact, I just had a text last night from Johnny, the group text. So what's the set for the KK Downing tour? And everybody's going back and forth. So pretty soon it'll be there.
Yeah.
But we just got done doing 3 weeks, so we're ready.
Yeah, right, sure.
And we're busy enough to where we have, you know, we don't really need to go in and rehearse a set to go, you know, play, and especially in this circumstance, because we're direct support for KK, and that's a 45-minute set, and that's a walk and.
And once again, for the viewing audience, as soon as my chef's code is full, we will be auctioning this off at the Metal Hall of Fame, and all proceeds will be going to the charity behind that, DAD,
There you go.
Drums and Disabilities. So it's right up here.
Let me see. All right. You have 4 who's drinking.
Cheers.
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 See how this is. I'm curious.
You guys want a beer? It's not alcoholic. We're working. Now, your dad wrote a very famous song that anyone who's ever been to a sporting event is familiar with,
That's
right?
right. That's
And
right.
what is this song again?
Let's go.
And how does it go?
And he goes.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
That's it.
That was written. What's your dad's name?
Lanny Duncan.
Lanny Duncan wrote that. What year was that?
1962.
1960. How did he come up with it? What was he doing?
Okay, well, the story I heard was he was at a football game in high school football game, I want to say it was, and he heard the hand clap, and it just stuck in his head, and then it developed. It's kind of a surf song, and it developed into that, and then they recorded it, and the Routers, which was basically put together. It's a bunch of studio cats. Matter of fact, it was the Wrecking Crew.
The Wrecking Crew. Yeah.
They played us.
Yeah.
And I know, right? Matter of fact, it's in the movie they used a song about the Wrecking Crew, the documentary.
Yeah.
It's in that, and it was also in the Avengers, the last Avengers movie, the big Avengers movie, where Hawkeye comes out. He's trying to get the kids to come, and he does a hand clap. He says, "Let's go."
Yeah.
So we got paid for that.
Right on. That's nice. Okay, and that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen, of this episode of Metal Mastication. My apologies to Bassmaster Billy Sheehan. We did run out of time, and we did have to bump him. Hopefully, we'll get him on next time. Until then, horns up. When was the first time you played on stage professionally? How old were you?
Oh,
15, 16,
13.
13?
Yeah,
And that was with
14.
Odin?
It was the earliest incarnation of Odin. Yeah. This is me
Where?
and my brother. It was a battle of the bands at like a Macy's. Yeah, we won.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Metal